If you've ever had a bad word to say about paedophilia, this is the time to show you meant it. This is about critical legislation due to go through Parliament that, if passed, will put the crypto paedophile lobby of LGBTQ that much closer to its finish line of abolishing the age of consent. Even if you're not British, this is something that should interest you. This is happening across the Western world. What you can see here is a letter I've sent 200 MPs that should be reaching them just about now, or pretty soon anyway, and I shall read it to you. In a democracy, when a group of hate-filled fanatics demand government locks up their opponents, they are shown the door and told not to darken it again. In the Queen's speech 10th of May, Her Majesty's government plans to include a bill demanded by the LGBTQ lobby to ban conversion therapy with up to 5 years in prison. Only a truly evil human being would want to lock someone up for up to 5 years for giving a homosexual who doesn't want to be homosexual the counselling and prayer they ask for. Child sex abuse does not change someone's sexual orientation is a big paedophile lie. The LGBTQ demand for a conversion reparative therapy ban is predicated on this big paedophile lie. Not only can therapy lead to loss of homosexual disorientation by healing the trauma of the childhood sexual abuse it stems from, it can also lead to the conviction of child sex offenders. This is why LGBTQ wants to ban what it calls conversion therapy. It wants child predators to be able to lock up child protectors. They also want to stop the effects of LGBTQ grooming in schools from being undone. The grooming that a criminally culpable Parliament overwhelmingly voted to nationalise in 2019. No matter how much members have been struck with terror by the Stuka dive bombing of Parliament for the last 30 years, with the words bigot, homophobe and transphobe, there is no excuse for not seeing the plain paedophile agenda of LGBTQ. It's almost as obvious as knowing what a woman is. Paedophile Information Exchange went route 1 to abolish the age of consent. Mark 2, LGBTQ, has gone route 2, and it has had spectacular success with its tactics of stealth and intimidation. Parliament put Mark 2 within sight of its finish line in 2019. If Parliament puts through the misnomered conversion therapy ban in 2022, it will put it that much closer. You will actually be locking up their opponents. I will supply information on the obvious paedophile agenda of LGBTQ by email. Regardless of whether or not we are for or against the normalisation of homosexuality, anything that subordinates child safeguarding to that cause is by definition predatory. Yet not only do LGBTQ want to lock up therapists for healing the homosexual disorientation that can stem from childhood sexual abuse, but LGB Alliance UK do too. The good guys. This is in stark contrast to LGB Alliance Australia, who opposed both trans and LGB conversion therapy bans in Victoria as inimical to democracy and child protection. Children cannot organise themselves to protect themselves from predators. That is the job of adults. We must do so without fear or favour. We certainly must not let playground name-calling by predators deflect us. I hope you will demand that Her Majesty's government does not defile the Queen's speech by putting in it a bill that is abomination before God and man. If you agree with that, I very much hope you will write a letter of your own. I'm not suggesting that you write 200 letters, only a complete nutter does that, but write to your own MP, write to any MP that you can think of who you think might be spurred on to be a little more outspoken in opposing this bill. Only 21 MPs opposed what is the nationalisation of child grooming when they made LGBTQ education in schools compulsory for children aged 5 and from age 5 and under. There needs to be a lot more robust opposition to this even being put on the legislative table. And if it is, government needs to have a shot fired across its bows, that it will be met with the robust opposition it needs to be met with. If you are going to write, I would strongly suggest you write a hard copy letter. In my view, it's worth at least 10 emails. If you go to the trouble of printing off a letter, signing it and posting it, to me that says how much you care about an issue. This is critical. This is critical. We are heading to abolition of the age of consent. If you've ever had a bad word to say about paedophilia, this is the time to show you meant it. Get your letter done the very next thing you do, or if you can't do it the very next thing, make sure that as soon as you can, you make it the very next thing you do. On this St. George's Day, England expects that every man, Britain expects that every man and woman shall do their duty to protect the children of our nation.
My country calls.